Hello, I'm Ethan, and today we're going to make a braised crossrib roast. So to start things out, we need to get some fat melting in our pan here. So I'm using some bacon fat because the roast is fairly lean and it's going to need a little bit more flavor. So once that's melted, get the vegetables in. We'll want to get them just sweating down. I'm not using very high heat here because we don't want to overcook them. For the vegetables, I'm just using onions, celery, and garlic with a little salt and pepper in there for some added flavor. And then once those are cooked down a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and get the mushrooms in. The mushrooms are going to soak up a lot of the gravy that we're going to be doing later, and they'll really add a lot of flavor to complement the beef. Don't they look tasty? Once the vegetables are cooked down, we're going to go ahead and work on the gravy sauce that's going to complement our beef here. So I'm just mixing in a little bit of tomato paste, getting it worked around. This will sweeten it up a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and add most of a can of tomato sauce. I didn't use the whole thing because I don't want to get it too tomatoey. So we're going to get that mixed in. And then we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of beef stock right in there. And then really just mix it around and get it on low heat and get it just simmering for a little bit. Meanwhile, we will focus on the beef. So what we've got here is a 3-pound grass-fed cross-rib roast from Holding Ranch up by Shasta. Now, being grass-fed, it's better for you, it's lower in saturated fat, but it needs a little bit of extra care and handling. So what I did is I brined it overnight in a heavily salted water along with some rosemary and garlic. And I'm just going to dry it off a bit and then start rubbing it down with some olive oil, which we'll use to get the spices to stick. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and just season it with some salt and pepper. I'm using just a kosher flake salt, which I like a lot. Okay, all done. And I'm going to go ahead and pull out the rosemary and garlic that I brined the meat with, and I'm just going to throw them into the pot later. Okay, time to sear it up and get some flavor on the outside of the meat. And you can see the water dancing around the pan means that this pan is really hot. And truthfully, I got it a little bit too hot, which you'll see in a moment. Just dumping that out now. So we're going to go ahead and add some oil. I'm using grapeseed oil because it's very high temperature. I didn't want it to burn like olive oil might. So get the meat in there and get it sizzling. And you can see from the bottom of the pan, and when I flip it, I got a little bit of some charred bits on there. And that's really okay. The pan was a little too hot, but it was really in the ballpark. It'd be better to go too hot at this stage than too cold, because you really want to get some color on the outside of that. So now we're just going to lay the meat into the cooking vessel that we prepared earlier and deglaze the pan with a little red wine to get the stuck bits off of the bottom of it. There's a lot of flavor still in there due to the Maillard reactions that happen. So we really want to get all of that and get it into our dish. Now we just spoon some of the sauce over the meat and get it in a 270-degree oven for at least 3 hours. You can really cook it just about as long as you want, and it's really just going to get more tender and flavorful. After about 2 hours, your meat's going to look like this. It looks done, but you can see when I put the fork in and twist it, it's not really coming apart like it should. Now this has been in for about 3 hours, and you'll be able to see the difference. See how the meat is flaking easily away and the fork inserts quite easily? That means you're good to go. So carve it up and serve. So at this point, the knife should just about fall through the meat with very little resistance. If you're getting any kind of resistance or the meat feels tough, that means you probably need to cook it for just a little bit longer. Note the lack of knives on the table. If you need a knife to eat this dish, it means you probably did something wrong. Thanks for watching. We hope you'll give this easy and flavorful dish a try.